Hello.
Coming down for a little meet and greet.
Yeah.
You took a picture of it?
All right.
Girl. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
this way, you guys got this active. How y'all doing?
We do. We're good.
No, we
Hello.
Quite good, not too bad. You know, going from place to place and call to call. You know, I got the
Yeah, mate, I feel that more than you know, mate.
yeah. I was well shit, you guys have that, so this has been up and going for like 3 weeks now?
Like 2.5, 2.
All right.
Roughly.
It's good to see. I think
Yeah, this is ours. This
Yeah,
is where we
making
call
progress.
can we stop by I'd love to know more about your organization. I as I understand it's a motor club.
Yep.
All right. Hell yeah.
So I'm gonna be honest with you, mate. I believe in honesty.
Hmm.
We are a 1% MC.
Hmm.
Are you familiar with 1%?
I've heard the term, but it's never been explained well to me.
Okay. I will explain it to you the best way that I can, because a lot of it is kind of like a feeling. I'm gonna be honest.
Hmm.
So the 1% of all MCs, that 1% is the percent that stands up against the government to seek change to the natural order of things.
Hmm.
We tend to disagree with everything government related, whether that be like the mayor herself,
Hmm.
the PD, lawyers, doctors, EMS, everything that falls underneath the category.
Hmm.
To seek change, to seek freedom from society. The only rules that the people that stand with me here follow are the rules that have been set here and that they have agreed to. Laws are stupid. Laws are forced upon you at birth. How can you expect someone to follow something they never truly agreed to?
I fuck with this, actually.
That is the best way I can understand it with a TLDR. So in some weird twisted way, mate, me, the club and you are our enemies in a light, I suppose.
That is probably the best explanation I've ever gotten about what 1% clubs are all about. So, well, that makes for a interesting proposition. I sort of read this as like, well, I don't want to label it too much, like kind of, you believe that the liberties are like sort of at birth and that the rules that you are subjected for are not rules that you necessarily need to or should need to abide by. Look,
yeah.
So, look, obviously I'm a politician. I think one thing that separates me from most others is every single promise. Okay, that'd be a lie. 90% of what I have stated I was going to do, whether it was a promise that I made months ago to somebody, I have brought it to fulfillment, right? Whether it's someone's dream for a business or some legislation that someone wanted to see, or whether someone wanted to seek justice, I have fought my hardest to bring it to fruition. And for those who don't know my policies or what I've had to deal with, I am dubbed the criminal mayor. I've been under investigation from the day I became mayor. I'm doing nothing. I haven't committed a single crime outside of getting traffic infractions. I think part of that is because whether it's law enforcement, one particular group or another, I try to maintain as much neutrality as I can. And my beliefs are that everybody, every man, woman, child, regardless of, you know, where their walk of life is, their civil liberties are the most important thing. That goes from everything from, you know, having the freedom to have a place to operate out of, the way that you are treated by law enforcement, and the way that you're treated when and if you end up in court. a lot of that has put a big fucking bullseye on my back. I've been labeled a member of Chang Gang. I've been labeled a member of BBMC. I've been labeled, I mean, no one's really called me a cop outside of one dumb fuck, but, you know, he learned his lesson. I've had to deal with a lot of bullshit, but I think a lot of that is what has protected a lot of people in the city from having the law pretty much abuse these very freedoms that allow you to, you know, operate here. I don't really want to talk your ear off in regards to those things because we could be here for hours, but I've been in the city for a long time, and I've dealt with a lot of injustice personally and with my clients. What I want to do for the next 3 months, and first and foremost, I genuinely did not want to run again. But there was a project, the court center up north, that I began to envision about 2.5 months back. Actually, more than that, in the last term. And I fought tooth and nail with the government to begin allowing the possibility for a place where individuals have a alternative path of success. I think most people, when they wake up today, you know, they're clocking in on duty at the government building, or alternatively, you know, clocking at senior buns, doing their toll runs or whatever. But where do they go from there, right? Even for a lot of crews in the city, right? What options do people really have outside of busting into a bank to make some money? I tried to provide some of those opportunities by legalizing like the sale of moonshine, marijuana, et cetera, but there needs to be a place for commerce to exist so that whether you want to run a plushie business, whether you want to run like an alcohol stall, you need a place to be able to do that, but to then advance that business into something meaningful. I don't know if you attended on Monday, but that was just a taste of what we were aiming for. And quite frankly, my fear is that particular dream, the amount of effort, the amount of coordination that was required, it cannot be done without myself and my cabinet, because it's been 3 months in the building, and that's kind of my primary sales pitch and ask is that if you want to see that dream come through, if you need a mayor that is going to make sure that they are by your side when you're getting fucked, I'm the only one that can fulfill that. But instead of me kind of spouting out what can be perceived as slogans, I want to give you guys an opportunity to ask me anything, regardless of what it is. And I'll answer as truthfully as I can.
Go for it, guys.
Do you mind speaking up? Sorry.
Well, I said my questions that like over the phone with you earlier before you came down to Last Storm about.
Is that about the compound?
Not just that, about what's going to happen to the city if, say, Silas wins or Silas becomes mayor.
I don't really know. I don't like to badmouth people, right? I'm sure Silas is a nice individual. I'm sure he means well. But I don't think he has the experience with the overall San Andreas community. Different crews, law enforcement, DOJ, etc. And nor does he have the network. And I think that if he does end up getting elected, it's going to be a massive shock. Quite frankly, the DOJ and law enforcement does not want the mayor, and in turn, the people that put that mayor into power to have any power. It's one of the reasons why the marshals and the DOJ were up my ass until I got rid of most of them. And I don't mean, by the end of a barrel of a gun, but I challenged their authority through legal means, and, things got a lot better. I think, unfortunately, Silas would turn into a puppet for the state. That just my honest opinion. And I know that's a little sly, but it's just how it is right now. Yeah.
What you did with the court center was definitely impressive. I don't think I've ever seen that kind of people around the city in at least my time here. But things have already begun to calm down, so how exactly do you intend to bring it back to that point and higher, as you seem to have said?
Absolutely. So the court center on Monday was a beta test. It was intended to be a 4-hour run so that we could see what was working for people, what worked, what didn't work, and so that when we do the next beta launch, we have already iterated at that point. So, for example, is the website working well? Is it user-friendly? Do we have enough stalls? What problems are the stall people having? What problems are the staff having? What is working and not working for mall security? So we take all those things, we make the adjustments, and we run it again. When I say that the court center is only 10% of where it is, and I do mean that. We have been in long conversations with the city construction, and a lot of the things that we are aiming, my cabinet is aiming to bring, is from the learning lessons. When the court center, if the court center, with me in office, comes to full fruition, the intent is the vendors are going to be able to sign in, staff is going to be able to sign in, mall cops are going to be signing in, and mall security is going to have to be responding to their own personal dispatch calls. People might be trying to break into the court center, bust up a light and steal people's goods out of their lockers that are going to be outside. There's going to be 2 separate food stalls that ghost kitchens will be able to operate out of. For example, if your crew wanted to, have your own food service, right? Either at the court center or outside of it, you would be able to do so without having to deal with the bullshit that's over at Senior Buns. And that's been all designed out. So there is currently a 5-page document that we've been iterating on for the past 6 weeks. Many of those things have not seen the day of light yet. So I think Monday is just a drop in the bucket for what we have planned.
Word.
Yeah.
Another question I have to ask is, I know you've been around in the city for a very long time.
Yes.
And since we are fairly new and we're trying to hold down this location, the chance of either demolishing the inside of this building or unlocking the doors like it used to be when Rudy was president of the Lost and they held this compound down before they moved up north.
I think that's very feasible. There are certain things. So as mayor, there's certain things that are within our powers and certain things that aren't. I think if I am elected, I am going to. I would say that you should continue holding this place down, and as time goes on, and I don't want to give a timetable because some of that is completely outside of my control. It makes it easier for me to pitch for a location like this to reopen up. Now, the good thing is I'm imagining that the inside of that spot has been furnished in the past. So the bar stool, the rooms, etc., would not have to be necessarily built back up. But I want you to just know that while that is an effort that I would put my best foot forward in, some of that I don't want to speak too prominently about because I'm not a architect. So there may be challenges that I am unaware of that I would have to navigate through. Is that making sense? What I mean by that? Okay.
Yeah, but I also think it would be a better idea, I think, even for us, even not even the old, but just making it a shell like you did in the court center when you opened up that one building.
Oh,
Like completely
okay.
just making it a complete shell, and
That is
It's up to us.
definitely a lot. Yes. That is something I can push for. I think there's a lot of things that I think that's a great idea. I think what we would do is I would want you guys to let me know which of those two options are of more interest to you, whether it would be a shell, like it gets completely gutted, or alternatively, if you want it to look like it did in the past. The only problem is if it looks at how it was in the past, you would see there's probably a lot of old lost MC memorabilia in there that you probably wouldn't want. So
Yeah, we'd want it as a shell.
as a shell,
That way we can customize
A
it
house
ourselves.
or
okay.
a house.
That is
So
certainly
maybe-
something that I would advocate for. I will say that the pitch goes way further the longer you are established, right? 3 weeks is a long time, but do keep in mind that 3 weeks is also may not be enough of a time in the eyes of construction priorities. You know what I mean? But but once again, I'm speaking on to the best of my abilities. Like I don't know. Maybe it is enough. You know what I mean?
and also this is just we're not asking for it for free. We're gonna we'll pay, bring construction materials like the court center did with their inside of their building where they did it step by step.
Okay. I love it. Yeah, that's
There's nothing's
definitely
for free in this world.
I think that would be fantastic. One thing what I will do is I'm going to see if because I think this would be a good resolution for perhaps others in the city as well, is that make an avenue by which groups like yourself are able to have a different means by which you can acquire places like this and get the shells. Once again, I don't want to speak too much on a topic I'm not fully privy to speak on, but I will advocate for it, because the last thing you probably want, or anyone would probably want, is it pops up on your tablet and some dumb fuck goes and buys it from underneath you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Because I tell you right now, if that happened, this compound would be painted red by the time shit came to resolution.
yeah, and deservedly so. And trust me, it's happened in the past, and I am not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of the way real estate, the state of it as it is today. But
'Cause I'll be honest, when it comes to like real estate of today, obviously, you know, we're a newer group. Right now, a lot of us are either working out of the apartments or they live here. For us to require a property, realistically, it will be a case of waiting until someone doesn't want theirs anymore and we buy it at a ridiculous price. Where that funds could go towards something much better in general, like funding training for the prospects, buying materials to help build up a place. Money that could go towards making sure this place stays as clean as it is. If we had more money, make it cleaner. Funds like that to then put towards a house for like 1.5 to 2 million. That amount of money, that is no shortage amount of money.
yeah, it's
And I've seen houses that are tiny, no bigger than the shopping crate to my left, and people want 2 million for it.
yeah, it's
I would agree.
it's very unfortunate. It's kind of like as more money kind of enters into the economy, the amount individuals are able to spend continues to go up, especially the more established a group is, right? Some people probably have 20, 30, 40 people, right? And it is definitely an area that I've been advocating for. I mean, I'll be I'll be rather open about it. It's been a couple months, and maybe sometimes things take time before, you know, all of a sudden our tablet's got, you know, some changes to it. But I will tell you that in a perfect world, real estate should be managed by the mayor's office of the county. So if property goes back up, it should be locked to the mayor. If property gets seized, it should go back into the mayor. And then the mayor should be able to dole it out to like real estate agents, right? Where, and then make decisions like, is this house going to go up for auction? How is the auction going to work? Is it going to go up as like a, you know, to a real estate agent that makes the decision? Or, you know, in other circumstances, maybe the mayor decides, here are the different groups, and they propose why the property should be theirs. And I think those options open up a lot of good avenues, because 20 new properties opening up, getting scooped up, you know, by people that don't even, like it happened to the Vagos, actually, many months ago, right? One day they wake up, luckily they got their hands on a lot of them, but then all of a sudden a bunch of fucking cops rolled in. Like, and, you know, traditionally, cops living down in the barrio is no bueno, right? It's no better way to escalate with gangs than to like move into their fucking, you know, block. But once again, there's like ideals and principles that I push for, but obviously there's certain things that are very much out of my hands, you know?
It'd be nice to be able to have some as well.
Sorry, could you say that again? If you could speak up, please.
Sorry. I said it'd be nice to have some turf that's our own as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a different thing. That's a different thing.
I think I know what you're talking about. You're talking like satellite dishes and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very outside of my purview, unfortunately.
No, I just meant the ability, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
if they got a property, then it steamrolls from there, you know.
As I see it, this block is our turf. That's it. I don't give a shit about satellite. It'd be nice to have. Do we need? No.
What I'm going to do, actually, because as we're sort of talking through this, I think there is a potential avenue that I can go down. And what I'm thinking is that there should be effectively maybe something I can pass where if you are holding down an area, like squatters' rights, right? In California, if you, let's say, lived in a house, even though technically it was illegally, for a extended period of time, there are certain rights you end up getting. And I think something along those lines in Los Santos County isn't a bad idea. So in the event someone were to challenge, if you lived here long enough and established yourself here long enough, you should inherently get first of right to any purchases or authority over the property. So that if, and I don't think it's going to happen, but this is like a just in case, that did turn into a shell and someone did buy it, they would be forced to hand it over to you at the cost that they paid. So, that is something that I can definitely promise, like right off the bat. And by right off the bat, I mean, we'd start working on it next week and get it implemented 2 weeks later. You know, red tape and bureaucracy.
Promises are very dangerous, especially in politics.
I never make a promise unless I'm going to deliver. Yeah.
When do the polls close?
The polls close this Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. And any other questions?
I don't have any. My biggest thing was this compound. Everything else really.
Oh yeah.
Anyone else for anything else?
Don't believe so.
All right. Well, hey, if any questions come up between now and Saturday, feel free to give me a call. I'm not going to be around tomorrow, but we'll be around Saturday. And in the event I do lose the election, I am bar certified. I'm the longest running attorney in Los Santos County. It's I don't take every case, but I've won all the big ones. Whether it's Speedy and his weapon bench, that I got him not guilty despite him cops going into his property and finding a literal weapon bench. I won that trial. Probably one of the reasons some cops still hold it against me. I mean, imagine you go into a room filled with drugs and guns and fucking blueprints and you end up losing that case. I've won a lot of cases where people are up for murder and they didn't know how to have a way out, and I won that case. And hell, I challenged the fucking sitting justices and the marshals who tried to turn this place into a police state, and I told them to suck my fucking dick and slam something on the table, and they could do nothing about it.
This place.
So, oh yeah. About I originally ran for mayor because I came into the city, flew back in, started to practice law, and people were getting charged with criminal negligence of a firearm. That's like when you lose a firearm and don't report it because the cops weren't tracking it. And there was 8 warrants on individuals that had no felonies, had never committed a crime. They weren't even spoken to by the police, but in a full swoop, if they were pulled over in a traffic stop, they'd be thrown into jail and end up with that on their record for the next 2 months waiting trial. I tried to defend them, and in turn, the sitting chief and ass chief were uninterested in producing the documents that they were legally obligated to give so that I could defend my clients. They told me, hell no, we don't need to do that. So I ran for mayor, and I changed all that. But this, shortly after that, the sitting justices and the marshals started to follow me with drones, thinking I was doing illegal activity, and tried to change the law so that they had ultimate authority over the land, which means that voters, the mayors, would get overrided by them. And I put a stop to that. A lot of that battling can be found on City Hall as well. Or the fact that there's new justices in play. Yeah.
I do have a question.
Sure.
It's to do with something you spoke about earlier. You said that you were accused of being part of Changang and BBMC.
Yes.
Here's my question for you, mate. Are you a part of anything?
I used to run my own organizations a long time ago. It was authorities used to call it the mob. We're talking about 30 years back. Used to traffic weapons, all kinds of things like that. Never went to jail once. Landing in Los Santos, I started actually over at the court center. It was called Wetworks. Me and my family, once again, were dealing with some heavy shit. Ended up Xing one of our associates for talking a little bit too much, so we put his fucking ass into the fucking nugget machine up north. Authorities were on my ass, but we managed to make some deals, get the equipment moved out. I got away from that. After that came Sahara International, where I was trafficking guns for about 3 years with our gun bench right by Mission Road PD. Nobody knew I was the guy. Now, so I do have a very, very big past. And then I was a member of the Clean Boys for about a year. Me, Donnie, Lang, El Sab, a lot of folks. A lot of people that's still around here now. But in terms of my associations today, I'm associated to everybody, quite frankly. My allegiance is to people. Promises and dealings. So, and I can't be bought. I've got about like $3 million that have accrued from the opening of this last, economic gate. But I don't really spend much money on me. I'm not interested in money. I've had those things. What I care about is that others have an opportunity, a fair opportunity. And if anyone is being wronged, I want to be the guy that helps make it right. So maybe that's why I'm a lawyer again, then the mayor. I don't know. As for the Chang Gang thing, it's because I talked to Mr. K once during my campaign. And some of these cops are fucking brain dead.
I've had people talk to me about this Chang Gang. I've never heard of them before. Apart from in words, I've never seen them.
They're,
not heard much about them. All I've ever heard is Chang Gang and Mr. K. So my knowledge with that is very non-existent.
Yeah. Understood.
Will you guys limit the type of business that's brought into the city?
Limit the amount of business?
No, the types of businesses.
No.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Regardless of what it is, because the reason I say that, and I'm glad that you brought it up, we were in the South Side at one point, and we were told that Chain Gang being one that used to hold down like a music record label company, and given that I've never seen or heard about any of that type of stuff, I just didn't know if you guys would have specific type of businesses that you would say would be allowed in the city of Los Santos.
There's gonna be limits based on what exists in law, and I've been trying to remove some of those limits so that they're regulated, like moonshine and fucking marijuana. We work to get like pharmacies to sell oxy in a place. So I would never limit it. I want to expand those opportunities because I think there needs to be more avenues so that there isn't just like, because before I got into office, you could pretty much just have like a fucking mechanic shop or own a stall. And I want to keep expanding on that. Like, I personally would love to see someone running an ammunition, you know what I mean? Like a gun dealer, illegal guns. Not just 1911s, but like legal deagles and shit like that. Why not? And
interesting.
The biggest...
That's a great point. I just see so much around the city.
Yeah.
As well as, what the old businesses here in the city looks like, and know that there's so much potential that could be brought into the city, even from a legal perspective that could offer more revenue into it.
Yeah, I agree. I think more variety is just generally good because I want to be able to, whether it's a stall or someone's actual business at some location. No, like, it's not interesting if you go there and they're offering everything that everyone else is offering. It's just it puts us into bubbles, And while we may have our crews, our own circles, there needs to be activity, and there needs to be a reason you need each other. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, no matter how, lines are drawn and who's got beef with who, it really does end up becoming the people versus the state. It's just, and it's not because of the people's mentality. It's the state's mentality at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So,
Cool.
All right.
Anyone else have anything else to ask? Anything else to say?
I don't believe so.
All right. Well,
good. Squared away for me. I appreciate you.
Hell yeah. Thank you so much.
I was wondering. I'm finding a lot of the time there's times in the day where food stalls aren't open and you can't get food from anywhere. Is there anything that...
Yes. That's what I want to solve at the Court Center. My goal is to have what is going to be the red kitchen and the blue kitchen. It is not going to be owned by anyone, but it's going to be run by the court center. And the idea is that independent existing stalls and independent food like companies, let's call them, can go and rent those places up to like 3 hours at a time, while simultaneously ghost kitchens can operate in them. So, for example, let's say Big Dog Noodles, a shop that you guys wanted to open, and the Chumanch Chips chose the red place. You would be contractually tied to that place for 30 days the moment you sign a little contract into it. And this would be bound by the tools. And then let's say another 3 were at the blue one. You would all be able to operate in the hours that you chose, right? 3 hours on Monday, it's like first come, first serve type shit, right? Maybe a little scheduling involved. But the idea is that all of these restaurants would be able to function out of those 2 kitchens while having competition between all the red restaurants versus all the blue ones, right? So that would not only keep the place always running, because there'll be somebody that wants to run it, but also simultaneously provide options for those who want to use it as a ghost kitchen and sell elsewhere.
Have you guys had any type of discussion on potentially thinking about bringing in different suppliers for the inventory that comes into Los Santos that will lessen the amount of time things disintegrate?
Yes, that is currently on the table. I don't know how construction feels about it, though.
Understood.
Yeah, because I think some things rust at a certain rate. There's certain materials that are used to construct things with a very particular intent behind it. But that's a hard topic to kind of dive into,
Understood.
Yep. But I am a fan of the idea of being able to repair. So a little more expansion on where I'd love to see the court center go.
Exactly.
Is I want via the court center, it's not just like, once again, it's only 10%. I want people to start with like a stall, then get an outlet, and then get a spot inside of a bigger mall that's next door that they can customize out themselves. But I want that business, right, that if you are working at that business might be tied to like mechanic work. And that if you were to have a stage 1 part and have a mechanic business, that you could turn that stage 1 into a stage 2 once, right? But only your company can, right? Separately, if you're running a dispensary through there, maybe you take marijuana that you normally grow and you mix it with the THC that only they have the tool for, and making more potent joints, right? So it's sort of taking the need for the civilian business, mixing it with the other side of the coin, producing something more valuable, so that it creates a bit of uniqueness. And maybe that comes hand in hand with the notion of like repairing things, right? Like
Makes sense.
yeah, like I could even imagine that there could be people that run a ammo shop that can also polish a gun once or something, or so but some of these things are things that we're pushing for. Whether it comes to reality is is unknown at this time. All right, fantastic.
Yeah, that makes for more like teamwork, especially if one say illegal.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Okay. Yeah.
Teamwork.
Yeah, teamwork is good, and I think it opens up like the notion of like, like, let's just call it like blueprints tied to the business, right? Because I think that's one folly is, you get the blueprint, everyone could do it, which is good to a degree, but maybe this is another avenue that that might be of interest. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Once again, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to give me a call. I am an open book, so
truly appreciate that. Thank you.
Anytime. Y'all stay safe.
Thank you for your time.
Of course.
Well.
Take
Thank you.
care.
Thank you, Nino.
That was a good conversation. Yeah, there's a lot of things that, I'm mildly touching on. There's things that, we'll see. I think the good thing about these conversations, too, is it has me, like, rethink my positions on some things, right? But I hope what it's resonating is, like, we're not, like, I'm not just coming up with this shit, right? Is like, we've put a lot of thought behind these ideas and have been iterating on these ideas based on what we see working and what we see not working. So we have a really good heartbeat